Hello and welcome to another week of chess openings with me, Slag, as we explore all the main openings that you can see as a chess player beginning in the game of chess. This week we're going over the Alekhines Defense, and we're going to do a little bit of a video series throughout the next couple weeks of all the different variations that you can do for the Alekhines Defense, because there's such a wide range of different variations that you can go about and attack your opponent and win the game. So what we're going to be looking at when we do the Alekhines Defense is 6 main variations. The first being the modern variation, the second being the exchange variation, the third being the 4-pawn attack, the fourth being the 2-pawn attack, the fifth being the sandwich attack, and the sixth variation is what happens when your opponent goes knight to c3. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the modern variation, which is the mainline theory for the Alekhines Defense. And with that, let's just jump right into it. So to start off with the Alekhines Defense, it's actually a black opening. So we're going to start on the black side. White plays e4. You need white to play e4 or else you can't really do the Alekhines Defense. But what's nice about the Alekhines Defense is that if they go queen 4 and you just shoot out their knight over here to g6, you can transpose into a King's Indian or a Perk defense pretty easily. So when white starts off with the e4 pawn opening, the way that you start with the Alekhine is to go to g6 here to attack the pawn. Now to do the modern variation, what will happen is white will then chase the knight at e5. The knight comes over to d5. d4 happens to trap the knight in, and this is where we do the modern variation. So there's a couple different ways that the modern variation can play out. We'll look at first is when white plays bishop to c4, starting with the modern variation. So how the modern variation comes up is from here we go d6. From d6, what will happen is white will need to kick out the f3. If they don't kick out the knight to f3, then it's not the modern variation. So then take on e5, and white will take with the knight on e5, creating a little bit of an attack fortified by this pawn and protected by this queen. Next thing we should do is kick up the pawn over here to c6, supporting the knight. And what will happen is white in this variation kicks out the bishop to c4, directly attacking the knight. What we'll want to do from here is kick out this knight over here to d7, attacking this knight, and not worrying too much about what the bishop's doing here, attacking the knight, because we have the pawn fortifying the knight there. So what we're looking to do from this variation is we're trying to kick out a knight over here to f6, and then shooting up to b5, attacking this bishop and pushing him out. And then once that happens, the nice thing about the Alekhines Defense is there's not a lot of theory involved. It's a lot of basic openings, and then you just kind of go with the flow of the game, fight with what white gives you, and try to make the most of the opportunities that they have. The nice thing about the Alekhines Defense is white usually doesn't encounter it, especially at a lower level, and so you can throw a lot of people off kilter when they do an e4 opening, not expecting the the f6 knight right off the bat. Quick, before we do anything else, please drop a like on the video below. It really helps me with the algorithm. Please don't let the video skip, please. Now the second variation we're going to be looking at is when the bishop goes to d3 instead of to c4. So the knight kicks out, we exchange, we support our knight, and this time the bishop comes over here to d3. What we'll want to do is kick up this pawn over here to g6 to fianchetto the bishop and create some attack lines on the knight and continue attacking, kicking the knight out here to attack the knight as here. And that's basically the whole variation. From there on out, you just play with what white gives you. The next variation is when the bishop goes to e2, which is the best move for white in this situation. And we set it up like so. Bishop goes to e2. We'll kick out the bishop to e5 before we want to close up this pawn structure here. White should castle. We'll bring out the knight to attack the knight. Knight retreats, and we can fortify the center, moving up to e6. And white will come out here and attack the knight on d5. So what we'll do is we'll retreat the knight to f6. And what we're looking at is we control the center very well as black, whereas white doesn't necessarily have the amount of control of the board as we do. Another way that the bishop to e2 can go is as we continue on, bishop comes out to e2, we kick out to f4. He attacks with the pawn here on g4 to attack our bishop on f5. We'll then retreat the bishop. They continue their pawn push. It's guarded by this bishop, so do not take with the knight. We go and attack the knight here on f6. White then can push up the pawn, and we will kick the bishop back to g8. Knight will kick out. The pawn will come up here to attack the d4 pawn. And what we're planning to do is just break open the center from this point. White can do that through en passant. White can do that by attacking here. There's many different ways we can go about it, but this is like the most theory-heavy line of the modern defense variation. Now, before we go, there is one trap that black has up its sleeve when it comes to the modern defense. We set it up from here. If white comes out here and attacks your knight on c4, this is great for us because we just kick it out to b4. If they try to attack on a3, we bring out the queen, attacking this queen here, offering a queen of trades. Now as white, what you don't want to do is you want to accept the trade, because what happens is you get a nice little royal fork, forking the king, the rook, and the queen, and essentially winning the game from there on out. There was a game where I literally got this, took the queen. For some reason after that, the king went back and I just brought the knight back out and took the rook. And from there, they just resigned right away. So it's a nice little trap to know up your sleeve, especially when it comes to inexperienced players that never see the Alekhines defense. So if you like that video, please like and subscribe. In our next video, we're going to be going over the exchange variation. That's going to be right here, and we hope to see you then. So thanks. Bye.